Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay, good morning one and all. So it's 10:30. So only 18 candidates till now they are present. Okay, I think slowly they will join. So attendance is mandatory for today's class because the father principal we have to submit the attendance. Okay, so inform your friends to join immediately. Okay, so let me start. So last class we are discussing about this double pipe heat exchanger, and we discussed what is double pipe heat exchanger and its what are the types of double pipe heat exchanger. It means the parallel flow double pipe heat exchanger and counter flow double pipe heat exchanger. The only difference is the flow of fluid. If the cold fluid and hot fluid both are flowing in the same direction, that is called parallel flow or unidirectional flow double pipe heat exchanger, or we can say co-current flow heat exchanger, double pipe heat exchanger. If the flow of hot fluid and cold fluid are opposite in direction, okay, that is called counter flow double pipe heat exchanger. And we calculate LMTD for both the cases, and we find that LMTD, that is the logarithmic mean temperature difference. Why we are not taking TH minus TC, instead of we are using a Q, we are calculating UA LMTD. U is the overall heat transfer coefficient from the hot fluid to cold fluid, because we have a two fluid surface and one metal surface. So convection and conduction both happening. That's why we took U, that is the overall heat transfer coefficient. And A is the area of heat transfer. And in place of delta T, we took LMTD. Why? Because we know that during in the equipment, the fluid will flow from this end to this end, and both hot fluid and cold fluid are flowing either in parallelly or in opposite direction. And throughout this length of double pipe heat exchanger, the temperature is continuously changing. The hot fluid temperature temperature is decreasing, and the cold fluid temperature is increasing continuously throughout the position. So we can't take any constant value, and it is very difficult. And it is very difficult to measure the temperature at each position within this equipment. Yes or no? In practical, it is not possible to calculate this temperature at each position. In between, what is happening, the temperature at this position, what is temperature this position, it is very difficult to measure. So in that case, how to take delta T? So the solution is, in place of taking delta T, we are using LMTD. So this TH1, TH2, this we can measure at the end, at the entrance and at the end, the temperature of fluid. And this TC1 and TC2 we can measure at the end of this exchanger. So by using these two value, using this 4 value, that is the temperature that was measured at the end and at the start of the heat exchanger, we can calculate this LMTD. The formula already we discussed, that is the delta T1 minus delta T2 by ln of delta T1 by delta T2 for a parallel flow. Parallel flow means this hot fluid temperature. Suppose hot fluid temperature is decreasing. Then parallel flow means this is the parallel flow. It means the hot fluid and cold fluid both enters at the same direction, and both enters the entrance of them are at the one point and exit of them are at another point. And this difference, this TH1 minus TC1, or the temperature difference at this entrance, that is called delta T1, and temperature difference at the exit, that is called delta T2. Okay, so this is for parallel flow. In counter flow, so TH1 TH2, suppose say this is the hot fluid direction, and cold fluid direction, it will be opposite direction. So suppose TC1 is the entrance from here. Then at this end, the TC2 temperature, the cold fluid temperature will be increased. That's why this TCO2 will be higher than TC1, and the direction is opposite. And this difference TH1 minus TC2, or this difference at the length 0, that is delta T1, and this is delta T2. Okay, and always LMTD here will be higher than this LMTD, parallel flow LMTD. Okay, and this LMTD formula delta T1, delta T2 for both cases we calculated. So LMTD formula is this one, delta T1 minus delta T2 by this one. Okay, so my question is, next question, suppose say for any flow, the delta T1 it comes 30 Kelvin, and delta T2 it comes 30 Kelvin. Can you calculate the LMTD? All of you, please use calculator and the LMTD formula you know. Okay, after knowing this delta T1, delta T2, how to calculate this LMTD, you know. So if delta T1 is 630, delta T2 is 30, find the LMTD. Please use your calculator and tell me the answer. Anyone calculating, then please tell me that I am calculating. Okay,
0, sir.
Okay, 0. Okay, how the formula is delta T1 minus delta T2 by ln of delta T1 by delta T2. Okay, so 30 minus 30 is by ln of 30 by 30. 30 by 30 means what? This is 1, and ln of 1 is how much? Please calculate from calculator. This is 0 by what is the value of ln of 1? The denominator
0.
0. So if delta T1 is 30, delta T2 is 30. Delta T1, delta T2 means, suppose say this one. This difference is 30, and this difference it is coming 30. It is only possible in case of counter flow heat exchanger. In case of parallel flow heat exchanger, delta T1 and delta T2 never be equal. Okay, we studied in the difference. Always this delta T1 will be greater than delta T2 because both hot fluid and cold fluid are entering at one end. Okay, but here what is happening? This hot fluid temperature decreasing, cold fluid temperature is entering at lower temperature, but at this end, this hot fluid temperature is increasing. Sorry, this cold fluid temperature is increasing. So this cold fluid temperature may increase to nearly TH1. Okay, that's why this in this counter flow heat exchanger, the delta T1 may be equal to delta T2. So in this case, in that type of case, how to calculate this LMTD? If we use this formula, then it is 0 by 0 is coming, and 0 by 0 is, it is undefined. Okay, then how to calculate? Can we say that no heat transfer is taking place? No, that is wrong thing. Suppose, let me give an example. Suppose a counter flow heat exchanger is there. Suppose this is 80 degrees centigrade, the hot fluid is coming, and 50 degrees centigrade. Okay, the hot fluid 80 degrees centigrade entering and leaving at cold fluid. Suppose the cold fluid is entering in this direction at 30 degrees centigrade and leaving at 60 degrees centigrade. Suppose say this is the cold fluid. So here what is delta T1? Delta T2 is 20 and delta T1 20. So LMTD, if we calculate, LMTD is coming 0 by 0 or undefined. So can we say this heat is not transferring? It is clearly observed that the temperature is decreasing from 80 to 50 degrees centigrade. And here the temperature is increasing from 30 to 60 degrees centigrade. It means there is a heat interaction. Then why this LMTD, but LMTD is coming 0 or undefined. Okay. So in this type of case, we have a special case. In case of counter current heat exchangers. Okay, generally this delta T1 will come and delta T2, most of the cases. Then when this case will there, then the LMTD will be delta T1 plus delta T2 by 2. Or you can say here 20 plus 20 by 2, or you can say 20. Okay, please remember these things. LMTD formula is this one. When delta T1 is not equal to delta T2. Okay, but in case of counterflow heat exchanger, most of the time this delta T1 is equal to delta T2. In that time, we have to use this LMTD formula as delta T1 plus delta T2 by 2. Okay. So, okay, next, let us solve a numerical. Yeah. Okay, this numerical is there. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please read the question, all of you. In a steam exchanger, water flows through a 3 meter long, 2.2 centimeter diameter copper tube. Okay, at a flow velocity of 2 centimeter per second, and is heated by steam condensing at 150 degrees centigrade on the outer side of the tube. The water enters at 15 degrees centigrade and leaves at 60 degrees centigrade. Find heat transfer coefficient. Okay, simple. So in a steam exchanger, water flow through a 3 meter. So it is a exchanger. Heat exchanger is there. What are the, so in heat exchanger we know the two things. What is this? First thing is water. And this water temperature, water enters at 15 degrees centigrade and leaves at 60 degrees centigrade. It means what? It is heating, or we can say it is a cold fluid. Here the cold fluid is water, because the cold fluid temperature is increasing from 15 degrees centigrade to 60 degrees centigrade. Why? Because it acquires the heat from the hot fluid. So then what is the hot fluid here? Hot fluid is the steam. The steam is the hot fluid and it is condensing. What is the temperature of steam? 150 degrees centigrade. Okay. And it is given the heat exchanger, length is given, diameter it is given, and within this, and the steam is flowing at outer side. Okay. So the length is given and water flow. Then if steam is flowing at outer side, steam is flowing outer side, then water will flow inner side. Inner side. Okay. So this is what it is given. In a steam heat exchanger, water flow through a 3 meter long and 2.2 centimeter diameter with a bulk velocity of 2 centimeter per second. Okay. Let us draw the diagram first. So let us draw a double pipe heat exchanger. So in between what is flowing? It's water. Okay, in this direction, and steam direction is not given. Suppose say, let us say this direction only, and it is water is entering at 50 degrees centigrade, leaving at 65 degrees. Just a minute, let me check. 60 degrees centigrade. Okay. living at 60 degrees centigrade. Then the steam temperature it is given 150 degrees centigrade, and this length it is given 3 meter, and the flow through which the water is flowing, this diameter it is given 2.2 centimeter. How much it is given? 2.2 centimeter. So this diameter, or this tube diameter it is given 2.2 centimeter, or we can say 0.022 meter. Okay. Yeah. And what is given? The flow velocity. Okay, it is given the water is flowing at 2 centimeter per second. Am I right? 2 centimeter per second. So you have to find the heat transfer coefficient. Okay. So how to find out? So we know that what is this formula? Q is equal to UA LMTD. Okay. A. What is A? What is U? So what is U? U is the overall heat transfer coefficient. This is asked. Okay. So how to determine that? This is asked means we must know the A value, we must know the LMTD value, and we must know the Q value. Again, we know that this Q value will be equal to m dot C, CPC, and TC2 minus TC1. Yes or no? This Q value we can apply this cold fluid mass flow rates, specific heat, and this temperature difference. This TC2 it is given 60 degrees centigrade, or we can say 333 Kelvin. Okay. TC1 it is given how much? 15 degrees centigrade, water inlet temperature. Water is heating now, so water is a cold fluid. So it will be 273, 283, 288 Kelvin. Okay. CP for what? Water. We know that it is 4.184 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Okay. Then this mass flow rate. What we have? 2 centimeter per second. The water flow rate it is given 2 centimeter per second, and we require mass flow rate. Okay, mass flow rate formula we know that mass flow rate is nothing but rho A into B. In fluid mechanics you must study these things. Mass flow rate, it is mass flow rate means unit is what? Kg per second. Then density. Density, what is the density? Unit kg per meter cube. And area is unit meter square. And velocity meter per second. Is meter square, meter cube it will cancel. So kg per second it will come. Okay. So to calculate this mass flow rate, we have to know this rho A into B. So B it is given 2 centimeter per second, or you can say 0.02 meter per second. In meter per second we got it. Density. Density of what? Water. That is that 10 to the power 3 kg per meter cube. The density of water we got it. Then A. Area of what? Area of flow area. This is the flow area. Water is flowing now, so flow area. So this diameter is given. Okay, the flow area will be how much? Pi by 4 d square. This is the what? This is a circle. Through this area only the water is flowing. Sorry, not in this direction, in this direction. The water is flowing, so this is the flow area. This flow area is nothing but pi r square, or we can say pi by 4 d square. So flow area will be pi by 4 d square. So d it is given how much? It will be income in meter square. D it is given 0.02. Okay, the diameter 0.022. It is given meter. So area you can calculate pi by 4, 0.022 square, or you can say meter square. After that, if we multiply this row A and B, we can get this mass flow rate. Okay, and the mass flow rate, it will come around mass flow rate, the row A, B, we did it, and it is coming around 0.76 kg per second. Okay, 0.76 kg per second. Okay, please wait, let me do the correction. Correction is needed. DCT, heat transfer unit to, yeah. Yeah, this question, I think, no, above one. It is 2 meter per second. Okay, so now we all have this value m dot c, CPC, TC1, TC2. Now you can calculate value of Q. So the Q value, how much it will come? So Q value is equal to m dot c, CPC, TC2 minus TC1. So m dot c is how much it will come? 0.76 kg per second. This now we calculate now row A into B, 0.76 kg per second into CPC. CPC is how much? 4.184 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. And temperature, it is 60 minus or 333 minus 288. Okay, 60 minus 15. 333 minus 288 Kelvin. Okay, if you do the product it will come 143.092. 143.092. And what is the unit of it? Okay, unit is important, I told. So your Kelvin it is cancelled, kg it is cancelled. So unit will be kilojoule per second. Okay, so this kilojoule per second is there. Can we write by joule per second? How? This kilo we have to convert to kilojoule, we have to convert to joule by multiplying 1000. So we can write is 1.39092 joule per second. This kilojoule just we convert by multiplying 1000 joule per second. And we know that this joule per second is nothing but watt. So it will be 143.092 watt. So this Q we got it. Then area. What is this area? This area is the flow area. M dot C we are calculating rho AB. Okay. M dot means what? Flow. This flow rate. So in this flow, in this area it is flowing. So this is the flow area. But here this A is the heat transfer area. Okay. This A is the nothing but heat transfer area. So it heat transfer area. So what is this heat transfer area? So this will be the heat transfer area. Okay, let me draw this one, this one. This is the heat transfer area. This cylinder is there, na? This is the heat transfer area because the heat, it is coming from this 150 degree to here also steam is there. 150 degree centigrade. So heat is coming throughout this all part of this cylinder. So this area is called as the heat transfer area. How much it is? This length is 2 pi r. 2 pi r, and this length is L into L. So this A will be heat transfer area, that is the 2 pi r into L. L it is given how much? 3 meter. R is how much? T is given, R is nothing but D by 2, and D it is given 0.022 meter. The diameter of the tube it is given 0.022 meter, and length it is given 3 meter. Okay, so this Q we calculate from this MCP delta T. A we calculate. Next is LMTD. Okay, so LMTD is very easy. We know that the steam is flowing at 150 and this temperature is 15 and 60 degrees centigrade. Okay, so let us do the diagram first for calculation of LMTD. The steam is flowing at 150 degrees centigrade. Okay, and this water is flowing at 15 degrees centigrade to 16 degrees centigrade. Yeah, this one. Suppose 15 degrees centigrade to 60 degrees centigrade, and direction will be this direction only. You can observe in this question it is not given whether it is a parallel flow or counter flow. In the problem it is not, if it is not given if it is parallel flow or counter flow, we will take by default that is the parallel flow only. Okay, so this is what TC1, this is what TC2, this is what TH1, and this is what TH2. You can ask me in this question that TH1 means steam temperature it is given 150 degrees centigrade. TH2 is not given, and I draw a straight line. Straight line means what? The temperature is 150 degrees centigrade here, 150 degrees centigrade here. Or TH1 is equal to TH2 is equal to 150 degrees centigrade. Why I take like this? Why the temperature of TH1 TH2 is not decreasing like this in this case? Can anyone say? Because here the hot fluid is not a fluid, it is a steam. Okay, if it will be a fluid, the temperature is continuously decreasing. But in case of steam, as soon as this temperature will decrease below 150 degrees centigrade, the steam will convert to liquid. Okay, by condensing. But the steam temperature is fixed, 150 degrees centigrade. But when this temperature is decreasing, the liquid will form, but the steam temperature is fixed. Okay, that's why the steam temperature, if any case the steam is given, the steam is flowing at any side or air is flowing, in that case we will generally take the steam is flowing, then the steam temperature will be constant. Okay, so what is delta T1? Delta T1 is this much. How much? 150 minus 15. Okay, you just convert it to Kelvin scale and then calculate. This delta T2, how much? 150 minus 60. Okay, then LMTD. Here delta T1 is not equal to delta T2. Okay, so LMTD formula will be delta T1 minus delta T2 by ln of delta T1 by delta T2. Okay, simple. So we can calculate this LMTD. So we have this formula, Q is equal to UA LMTD. This LMTD we calculated. Area is the area of heat transfer, that is nothing but 2 pi r into L, and Q we calculate from m dot C CPC delta T delta C. Q we calculate from m dot C CPC and TC2 minus TC1. The only unknown is U. So U you can calculate, that is nothing but Q by A into LMTD. And this watt unit will come watt per meter square into degree Celsius. Okay, simple. The only unknown is, only new thing here is, you learned is, if its steam is there, then for the steam, the inlet and outlet temperature will be constant. And delta T1, delta T2, that is the difference at this end and difference at this end. Okay. So I hope this numerical is clear to you. This is already, it is available in the notes. Please read them. So next problem is this one. A little bit interesting problem. Please try to focus on it. So let me read it, the question for you guys. 900 kg per hour. This is what mass flow rate of oil. For oil, Cp is given. Is cooled by means of water from 80 degrees centigrade to 35 degrees centigrade in a counter current flow heat exchanger. Okay, in a counter current flow heat exchanger. So let us draw. This is the heat exchanger. Okay, it is given 900 kg per hour of air. Oil is flowing. So in one case, oil is flowing. Suppose in this direction, then water. What will be the direction of water? It is a counter flow heat exchanger, so it will be opposite direction. And it is given this flow rate of this oil. Okay. So this kg per hour of oil is cooled from by means of water from 80 degree to 35 degree centigrade. It means this oil is getting cooled from 80 degree centigrade to 35 degree centigrade. Okay. The inlet temperature of water is 30 degree centigrade. Then out of these things, which one is a hot fluid and which one is a cold fluid? Can anyone say? This oil and water, which one we will consider as a hot fluid and which one we will consider as a cold fluid?
Oil is hot fluid.
Yeah, oil is hot fluid because the temperature we are decreasing. That's why oil is the hot fluid. And water, by using water, this hot fluid temperature is we are decreasing. So water is the cold fluid. Okay. So first thing what we have to do is we have to draw the diagram and we have to write the data. So we have two fluid. One is hot fluid, one is cold fluid. The hot fluid is oil and cold fluid is water. These things you have to determine first. Suppose oil is flowing this direction and water is flowing this direction because they are counter flow heat exchanger, counter flow heat exchanger. Then one by one data we will see. This much of 900 kg per hour of oil. Okay, so we can write, and oil Cp is given 2.1 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. So yeah, so oil mass flow rate it is given for m dot h, it is given 900 kg per hour. What is the value of m dot c? It is not given. Okay, and what is given the Cp for hot fluid? It is given 2.1 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. What is the Cp for cold fluid? Cold fluid is what? Water, and water specific heat, that is most common. You have to remember, generally in the question it will not given. That is the 4.184 kilojoule per Kelvin. Okay, and this hot fluid temperature is decreasing from 80 degree to 35 degree centigrade. So TH1 it is given 80 degree centigrade and TH2 it is given 35 degree centigrade. 80 to 35 degrees centigrade. The water inlet temperature is 30 degrees centigrade. It means the TC1 it is given 30 degrees centigrade. Okay, TC2 it is not given. Suppose this is TH1 and this is TH2. This is 60 degrees centigrade, 80 degrees centigrade, 35 degrees centigrade. The water is entering at the opposite direction. Okay, so TC1 will be here and TC2 will be here. Okay. This is 80 degrees centigrade, this is 35 degrees centigrade, and this is 30 degrees centigrade. Okay. Then the exchanger area is 29 meter square and U is equal to 500 watt per meter square. Okay. So it is given area it is given 29 meter square, and U it is given 500 watt per meter square into Kelvin. Where it is, yeah, 500 watt per meter square. Determine the rate of flow of water. Okay. Our rate of flow of water means this m dot c we have to calculate. Okay, what is this value? It is asked. Very simple. When this type of system is there, we know the formula is simple formula. Simple or most common formula. I told you by using this formula only, you can solve any problem related to double pipe heat exchanger. That is, the Q is equal to m dot h. Can anyone remember what is the formula? Last class I told. Q is equal to m dot h Cph Th1 minus Th2 is equal to m dot c Cpc Tc2 minus Tc1 is equal to UA LMTD. Okay, right? What is Q? Q is the amount of heat transfer. What is m dot h Cph Th1 minus Th2? This is what? How much heat that is loss for traveling from this temperature TH to TH2 for the oil. This is the mass flow rate of oil, Cp of oil, and this temperature difference is equal to this temperature of this heat of oil is loss. Then where it is go? It is goes to water, and this how much of heat that is gained by the temperature or water. That is the mass flow rate of that is the mass flow rate of cold fluid, Cpc of cold fluid, Tc2 minus Tc1 is equal to how much heat that will transfer from this to this one. Okay, this temperature, how much heat is transferred. That is nothing but UA LMTD, because here we have to consider overall heat transfer coefficient, because this is the fluid, this is a solid, and this is the fluid again. That is nothing but UA LMTD. Okay, so what are the variables that is given? M dot H it is given 900 kg per hour. Cpc it is given 2.1 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Th1, Th2 it is given 80 degree and 35 degree centigrade. And then m dot c it is asked. Cpc it is given, and Tc1 it is 30 degree centigrade it is given. Okay, then A it is given meter square, and U it is given 500 watt per meter square. Okay, okay, so then m dot c we have to calculate. How to calculate m dot c? All the things known to us. The Q we can calculate. Q is nothing but m dot h, that is 900 kg per hour into Cpc 2.1 kilojoule per kg Kelvin, and temperature difference. Can you convert it to Kelvin scale? Because here the temperature it is in Kelvin, so we have to convert into Kelvin scale. So 80 degree centigrade means 353 Kelvin, and 35 degree centigrade means 308 Kelvin. So it is will be 353 minus 308 Kelvin. So what will be the value of Q? It will come. Okay, so we can multiply the Q. It will come around 8505. So it will be 8505. Okay, just a minute. The unit of Cp, yeah, kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Okay. So what will be this unit of Q? Kg cancelled, K cancelled. So it will be kilojoule per hour. So how to convert this kilojoule? Here you see this U unit, it is given in watt. So we have to convert this kilojoule per hour to watt. 1 watt is nothing but joule per second. So it will be 8505 kilojoule means into 1000. It will be joule. 1 hour is how much second? 3600 second. Okay. So this value it will come around 23625. It will come around 23625 joule per second, or you can say watt. Okay, or watt, or 23625 watt. So this, by using this data, we can calculate the value of Q. So now we can say Q is equal to, or we can say 23625 watt is equal to m dot C CPC TC2 minus TC1. Okay, CP, these things we know. To calculate m dot C, we must know the value of TC2. Okay, so how to calculate this TC2? For that, we have to use this formula. Okay, so TC2 we have to calculate, then only we can calculate MC, this mass flow rate of cold water. So we can use this formula 23625 watt Q is equal to UA LMTD. Okay. UA LMTD. U, how much it is given? 500 watt per meter square into Kelvin. A is what? Area. How much it was given? 29 meter square. 29 meter square into LMTD. Okay. So this Q, it is what it will cancel? This meter square it will cancel. So LMTD we can calculate in Kelvin scale. Okay. So LMTD it will come around 1.63. 1.63. Okay. So, but our aim is to calculate TC2. So from LMTD we can calculate TC2. How? Let us draw. So for this diagram, let us draw. This is a counterflow heat exchanger. Okay. So let us draw the diagram first. So water is entering at oil is entering at 80 degrees centigrade, or you can say 353 and 308. Okay. Water is entering at 353 Kelvin, that is TH1, and leaving at TH2, or we can say 308 Kelvin. Okay, in this direction. And cold fluid is entering at opposite direction. So cold fluid temperature is 30 degrees centigrade, or you can say 303 Kelvin. So water is entering, or you can say this is TC1, it is given 303 Kelvin. And this temperature will, obviously it will increase, okay, because the cold fluid temperature or water temperature will obviously increase because this temperature is decreasing. So this is TC2. So TC2 we don't know. So what will be delta T1 here? 353 minus TC2. Delta T2 is nothing but 308 minus 303, or you can say 5. Okay. Then we know that LMTD is nothing but delta T1 minus delta T2 by ln of delta T1 by delta T2, or we can say LMTD is nothing but 1.63. We determined in previous case by using Q is equal to UA LMTD. So LMTD is equal to 1.63 is equal to delta T1. How much? It is 353 minus TC2 minus delta T2 is 5 by ln of 353 minus TC2 by 5. Okay. So if you observe in this equation, what is the unknown? TC2 is the unknown and all the data is given. Can we calculate TC2? Okay, simply we can calculate. How to calculate? So 1.63 into ln of 353 minus TC2 by 5 is equal to this 353 minus 5. It will be 348. It will be 348 minus TC2. Okay. So in this equation, only one variable is there. What is that variable? TC2, or we can write this, TC2 will be equal to 348 minus 1.63 into ln of 353 minus TC2 minus ln of 5. Yes or no? Ln of A by B. We can write ln of A minus ln of B. Okay. So this ln value we know. Okay. So here is the difference. Only unknown is there, TC2, TC2. So how to find this TC2 value? So here the method we will use heat and trial method. Heat and trial method you know already. Suppose say LHS is equal to TC2 and RHS here is equal to 348 minus ln 5 minus 1.63 ln of 353 minus TC2. Okay. So let us take a TC2 value. So first check what will be the TC2 value. The TC2 value will be always greater than this 303 value. Okay. Suppose say 320 Kelvin. The TC2 value will be higher than this TC1 and this smaller than this 353. Okay. Suppose say 322 Kelvin. Then by using this 320 Kelvin here, what value we are getting? Either we are getting 322 Kelvin or not. If not, then we will use another value. Suppose say 320 Kelvin. Then we have to see whether you are getting this value or not. If not, then we are using another value. Suppose 348 Kelvin. Okay, but this is called heat and trial method. By considering this LHS side, we have to calculate the value of right hand side and whether we check these two values are same or not. Okay, if this value is coming 348 for this TC2 is suppose say TC2 348 Kelvin and this right hand side calculation also coming 348 Kelvin. It means what? It means that TC2 value is 348 Kelvin. Okay, simple. So by using this heat and trial method, the TC2 we calculated. Okay, so TC2 is known to us, then only unknown is m dot C. Okay, so m dot C you can calculate easily. Okay, this is a lengthy problem, but only this type of problem will come in the exam for how many marks? For 10 marks, 15 marks. Okay, so it is all given in the notes. So kindly read the notes. Okay, all the things in the notes I already explained in a smooth way. So kindly read the notes. And the next topic is Fouling factor. Okay, this is a practical based issue. So these things we'll discuss in the next class. Next class means 6th hour I will have one class. So there we'll discuss this Fouling factor, and Fouling factor based one numerical is also there. Okay, so those numerical also we will solve, then that will be the end of our this unit 2. Okay, so before starting let me, okay, which class you have next class? Let me check. Okay, Amal Das chemistry is there. Okay, I have time till 5 minutes. So let me discuss a little bit. So all of you have this boiling the water. Okay, you must boil the water, you must be boiling during summer time or winter time. Okay. So Suppose this is a water pen, or we can say a steel pen. Okay, and this pen you will use only for boiling the water. Okay, so after 30 days, suppose say 30 days. Okay, if you boil continuously for 30 days, you are not cleaning it. You are boiling and removing water, and boiling, removing water, boiling and removing water. Okay, after 30 days, can you see a small type white color precipitate is deposited on this wall? Yes or no? A small white color precipitate will be deposited on this wall of this boiling container. Okay, what are those things? Can anyone say? Why that white color precipitate is depositing? We know that water is generally not pure. Okay, the hardness of water, hard water or soft water, you know, generally water will have certain dissolved salt in it. Okay, so when we heat continuously in a pan, the dissolved salt at higher temperature, it get converted to solid form, and those solids are generally deposited or attached at the wall of this pan or steel container where we are heating. And due times, after repeatedly, after so many years, this scale thickness is generally increasing. Okay, this white color precipitate, or this deposition of these salts, that is called scale. Okay, the scale formation. So if this scale formation is taking place, suppose here at a new container, we have to give the Q amount of heat so that water will boil. Okay, suppose we have another container, very old container, in where the scales are deposited. Can we, by applying the same Q, what we applied here, can the water will boil more quickly? In which case water will boil more quickly? Can anyone say?
Counterflow.
Okay, who is your roll number, please? Yeah, can you please say your roll number, please? Whoever replied. Okay.
10.
Yeah. Why did counterflow it came? I'm not discussing about this counterflow, parallel flow. I'm discussing about just a normal boiling pan is there. If you boil the same water up for 30 degrees centigrade without cleaning it, you will find some precipitate deposited on the surface of this metal boiler, metal pan. What is that? That is called scale. What are these called? These are nothing but the dissolved solid or dissolved salts what we have in the water during the boiling, that is get deposited here. Okay, the next my question is, if you take a new one and an old one in which the scales is deposited and we apply same heat, in which case the water will boil fast or boiling occurs fast? In which case?
The scale formation takes place.
Yeah, there what will happen there? The boiling will occur fast. Do you want to say that? Or the boiling will take less time? Means boiling will take more time. It will take more time to boil. Not able to tell this one also. Simple logic question. This is not related to heat transfer. You may experiencing these things daily to daily life in your home. Why we are cleaning the utensils daily after use? We are cleaning now. The first purpose is hygiene. The second purpose is we are generally dealing with water, and this water will form the scale after multiple heating, or the salts that were present that will get deposited, and this scale will provide resistance to heat flow. This scale will provide a separate resistance to heat flow. It means what? If we supply the same amount of heat, the amount of heat that will be received here, it will be less compared to amount of this. Okay? So that is the concept. That's why if the scale is getting formed, then the rate of heat transfer is less. Okay? And this concept of formation of this scale, we called it as a Fouling factor. Okay, about this detail we will discuss in the last class. Okay, 6th hour I have another class, there we will discuss. And one important numerical is also there based on this. So that numerical is many times it is asked. Okay, that numerical also we will discuss. Okay, thank you. So all of you can leave the class and attend the next class. Okay, thank you.